I muted our mic for some weird reason instead of unmuted it. Hey, how are you?
Good morning.
Welcome to Good Health by Claudia podcast with me. I am Denny Schaffer. Of course, that is Claudia, the star of the show. It's a production of Denny Radio, and this is episode 77. 77 and
Nice.
Going strong.
Nice.
And we want to thank all of you guys for helping us grow this podcast. Every time you share the podcast, Good Health by Claudia, you're helping people. So it's something simple you can do right now while you're watching this. You know, pull up Facebook or wherever you're watching this and just hit share while you're watching it so this message can get out to people that need it. I mean, the information.
Everybody needs nutritional information.
Exactly.
Everybody.
Exactly.
Just too many people don't realize it. That's why we're doing what we do, right?
That's right. And the podcast is growing and we thank you for that.
Yeah,
so let's keep it up, people.
Yeah.
Keep spreading the word about the podcast on Tuesdays at noon. All right. Episode 77. We have a guest.
Yes.
I believe he's been on with us before. I think he was.
Yeah.
His name is Carl Germano. He holds a master's degree in clinical nutrition. He has over 40 years of experience as VP of product development for several of the largest vitamin supplement companies in the trade, a consultant for Bluebonnet. And we're going to talk about Alpha-Lipoic acid, a supplement for managing chronic diseases characterized by oxidative stress, notably diabetic neuropathy, and demonstrates promising and slowing of the onset. Okay. That's a lot of words. Let's just bring Carl in. Carl, welcome.
Hi, Carl.
To the podcast. Well, first off, what is alpha-lipoic acid? Let's start with that, Carl.
Yeah, I mean, simply alpha-lipoic acid, it's a very powerful antioxidant. It's naturally made in the body, and it's found in some foods like walnuts and spinach. It plays very important roles in protecting cells from damage caused by, obviously, oxidative stress, which occurs when these harmful, that's the bottle, when these harmful molecules called free radicals, they overwhelm the body's defenses. And so it is a very important material that both is water and fat soluble. So it makes its way throughout the body very nicely. And there are various forms. There's an R form, which is the natural biological active form made in the body. And then there's an S form, which is synthetic. And so, you know, the R form is what we use, especially in Bluebonnet's products. As far as applications, what alpha-lipoic is, outside of its antioxidant role, I mean, there is plenty of studies to show that alpha-lipoic acid can help. One of the interesting areas for me is in insulin sensitivity, where it means that it helps the body's cells respond better to insulin, which is crucial for controlling blood sugar levels. And, you know, especially people type 2 diabetes. Type 1 require insulin injections, but type 2 diabetes we can control very well with a whole host of different nutrients. And alpha-lipoic acid is right up there, being one of the most important. It also improves... Yes.
Excuse me. I just want to interrupt for a moment because I want to go back to something you started out with. The fact that this antioxidant is both water soluble and fat soluble makes it a really unique antioxidant, correct? Because most antioxidants are either one or the other, but this is both. So it plays a really critical role in blood sugar stabilization. And the original research was done on diabetic neuropathy. Correct?
Yes.
But used for nerve inflammation of all kinds.
Yeah,
So,
I was going to get the nerve inflammation one, but when it comes to diabetes, without a doubt, it not only is involved in supporting insulin sensitivity, but it improves some of the markers that are related to blood sugar levels. For people with type 2 diabetes, those markers are related to blood sugar control and antioxidant activity. So even though it may not drastically change long-term blood sugar averages, it helps protect the nerve cells, as you mentioned, providing relief from diabetic neuropathy and symptoms like pain and numbness and common, which is a common diabetes complication.
yes.
And in animal studies, they're showing that concerning type 1 diabetes, it's a little bit different. And the R form of alpha-lipoic acid shows a lot of promise in reducing the autoimmune activity that destroys insulin-producing cells in the pancreas. So it seems to boost the regulatory immune cells that are very important in protecting nerves and what have you. It's also potentially supporting the survival of the pancreatic cells that get transplanted in these animals. And so it's got a lot of other activity outside of just supporting insulin sensitivity. It's absolutely a promising major player in a protocol that addresses diabetes, again, insulin sensitivity, reducing oxidative stress, and boosting immune cells that help to calm any harmful attacks, this autoimmunity that is very common in diabetics.
Yes. And it's also, in fact, for at the store, our team knows, I don't know what that is. What is that?
I don't know either.
What is that?
I don't know. There's something on his camera.
Yeah.
That was weird.
But at any rate, at the store, we have a lot of people that, we're guiding to help with nerve inflammation. But I've instructed the team some time ago, you have to ask everyone, are they on any kind of blood sugar medication? Because it can really make a positive impact without people realizing it. So if people are using it for inflammation, they still should test their blood sugar if their blood sugar is an issue, because we've seen it make some very positive change.
Well, there's no doubt alpha-lipoic acid is involved in anti-inflammatory activity in the body. It reduces markers of inflammation in the body. And we know that even in diabetics, inflammatory markers are elevated. But that's true of almost all degenerative diseases where inflammation is at the hallmark of a lot of these conditions. And so alpha-lipoic acid plays another role here in the chronic inflammatory aspect of these diseases and reducing some of those markers. And it has the ability to lower inflammation to protect those organs or body conditions. But that ties into also what we talked about, mentioned, and that is nerve health. And we know that from diabetic neuropathy rather, to even carpal tunnel syndrome, it helps slow the progression of nerve damage and supports recovery after nerve injury. So it has major functional roles outside of just looking at it as a support for insulin sensitivity.
Yes.
What about side effects? Are there any side effects, or is there what do you always call it? The contraindications with other meds?
Off the top of my head, I don't see much other than the fact that we know that lipoic acid also works in the liver, and it has effects that maybe can stimulate the metabolism of ingredients. And that's true of a number of important nutrients in our arsenal today, and that is it can help the liver do its job. And one of the jobs of the liver is through its detoxification pathways, whether it be a nutrient or a drug. Once it gets through the first pass out of the gut and into the liver, we know that it can start breaking things down very efficiently. And so it may, and I say may with the capital letters here, be something that has to be discussed with the practitioner. If the person's on other medications, it may kind of increase the breakdown of those medications faster. So they may have to make adjustments. And I say that to make adjustments because it's not that it would be contraindicated, because one of the things we want the liver to do is do its job best, and that is to get rid of these noxious agents. But at the same time, if drugs are provided for therapeutic conditions, we don't want to lessen their effects of what they're trying to achieve. So sometimes it's just a minor adjustment in the medication. I haven't seen that because you really have to go very high doses, and we're not recommending that. It's unnecessary when it comes to alpha-lipoic acid.
So it helps the liver, and there's no side effects.
Yeah, well, and no side effects that I'm aware of, but and in the given population, anything is possible. The vast majority, it's clearly safe for most people. But again, it's those who are on multiple medications, have multiple conditions, where things get a little tricky that you have to monitor them more efficiently. But outside of nerve health, and it certainly supports the heart. It improves blood vessel functioning.
Yes.
It can lower some of the LDL cholesterol and triglyceride levels. And again, reducing oxidative stress is very important. Reducing inflammation is very important for the heart and heart conditions, because really it's the inflammatory aspect and the oxidation of cholesterol
Right.
that it is the problem for most of these people. And so having nutrients that are both antioxidant, increases blood flow, can reduce some of the lipid levels, are incredibly important. It's not just about working in the liver and decreasing the production of cholesterol. Cholesterol is critically important, but we know alpha lipoic acid can improve blood vessel function, which is very important for almost all cardiovascular conditions. We talked about brain health. We know that alpha lipoic acid can easily pass the blood-brain barrier and protect the brain cells from damage. In blood sugar regulation. B, most importantly, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory effects. I go back to this because one of the hallmarks of all neurological diseases is inflammation in the brain. And we see these elevated markers in a lot of neurological conditions. So alpha lipoic acid makes its way in those types of conditions as well. From an aesthetic point of view, it is great for skin health as well. I mean, you look at alpha lipoic acid, and it's been shown to help with skin elasticity and reduce the signs of aging by, again, free radical protection. Our skin is chronically exposed to the environment, UV radiation, what have you. And while I am not a believer in any single magic bullets, I think certainly alpha lipoic acid belongs in a mix of other nutrients that are important for cell senescence, UV exposure, reducing the breakdown of collagen in the skin matrix. So alpha lipoic acid absolutely finds its way and plants itself well in skin health products as well.
Okay, so when do you take it? Do you take it in the morning? Take it at night? Do you take it with food? Stomach?
Yeah, I mean, you can take it since it's water and fat soluble. Alpha lipoic acid can be taken either with or without food. Some people like it without, but regardless, I wouldn't worry about the food as far as how much to take and when. Certainly, I am a big believer in even blood levels throughout the day, and I like to break it up to two morning and an evening dose. They typically are 600 milligram capsules, and you take one in the morning, one in the evening. To me, that's the best way, because again, what people have to understand, anytime you're dumping nutrients into the gut, immediately when they leave the intestinal tract and get into the bloodstream, the first organ it goes is the liver. And this, what we call first pass metabolism, is good and bad. Good because this is what the liver needs to do, and bad because it can reduce the availability of nutrients because it's breaking things down. And so I don't want to overload all at once and it breaks down a lot of it. I'd rather do the 2 doses a day anyway, A, to get even blood levels throughout the day, and B, to kind of reduce significant loss of lipoic acid once it leaves the liver.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you, it's one of my favorite products. We have a lot of people on it. I believe in this product. We've seen amazing things with it. And, but we always tell customers, when you take it, you'll get an odor to the urine. It's the way it, and we learned that when we first started selling it years ago, people would come and say, oh my God, there's a, weird odor in my urine. Well, then we learned that's from the alpha-lipoic acid. So
Yeah.
That's a good icebreaker at a party.
Well, I also remind people you get the same odor when you eat asparagus.
right,
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
hey, these are the metabolites, and yes, this has a slight odor, not to be concerned.
Yes. So
But
anyway,
if you're on other antioxidants, would you take this as well? Because this is both, right? You mentioned.
it is.
I like the fact that it's fat and water soluble, so it finds its way into. First of all, you got to be transported either in the lymphatic system or in the bloodstream, so that you got to be somewhat water soluble, or the body has to convert it, and then getting to the cell. The cell membranes are all phospholipids and fats, and you want it to be lipid soluble. So it
Right.
has a little bit of a benefit compared to other antioxidants, but without a doubt, if we've learned anything from studies like the carrot study, where they gave people a lot of beta carotene and found out that they got higher risks of certain types of cancers. And then we found out, well, if you do that, if you give high doses of any one antioxidant, it can interfere with the absorption of the others. And that was the case with beta carotene. And we know that things like lycopene and lutein and all the other great carotenoids are more powerful anti-cancer agents. So you definitely want to mix. You want a family of and as I mentioned before, I don't believe in single magic bullets, and I think it is important that you, as an adjunct, you have other supportive nutrients along with
Yes.
alpha-lipoic acid, depending upon what the person brings to the table, the conditions you're trying to treat as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about
So
vitamin A.
yeah, because you brought up beta carotene, and I personally am a fan of straight up real vitamin A. I think a lot of people have a misconception about vitamin A. I think it's very important. And I'm really grateful you guys make the real stuff, because most companies are not making the real stuff anymore.
It is a travesty that companies have in the past taken vitamin A out and replaced it with beta carotene.
Yes.
Worst thing you can do, unless you're going to be putting in lutein, lycopene, zeaxanthin, astaxanthin, put all the carotenoids together, because again, what we've learned from the carrot study is you never want to overload the body with just one, in this particular case, carotenoid. The thinking was, well, beta carotene is not as toxic as vitamin A, but we'll get to that in a second. And so let's use beta carotene. And then the thinking was, well, yeah, the body will then convert it to vitamin A, and that's not necessarily efficient across the board with everyone as well. So you can't just assume that you have beta carotene in there, you're producing vitamin A in whatever amounts, and there's so many variables involved in that. And so this whole issue of being afraid of toxicity, because decades ago they were putting out a lot of these studies, and Western medicine was talking all about the toxicity associated with vitamin.
Right.
We're talking about acutely a couple of hundred, versus when you're looking at daily intake, we'd like to keep it around the 5,000, no more than 10,000.
Right.
But usually 5,000 I use is more than sufficient. But it is incredibly important to the body. People don't understand, because we knee-jerk reacted to potential toxicity, and we don't want to overdose people. We lost sight of the fact that vitamin A, preformed vitamin A, retinol, retinoic acid, it is incredibly important for vision, for brain health.
Yeah.
Your eyes are part of your brain anyway. Also for lung health. I mean, during COVID, we had to deal with the cytokine storm in individuals because of the immune system. But nonetheless, for lung and upper respiratory tract infections, vitamin A is critically important in their prevention and support of the immune system. I mean, it's got so many benefits. We would need a full hour to really discuss the importance of pre-formed vitamin A. The key here is, we don't need a lot. Up to 5,000 IUs a day would be sufficient as preformed. And some companies, ideally, and Bluebonnet has done this in some of their multis, have put in some preformed vitamin A with some beta carotene. And so, that would be a nice combination of the two, because they are very different. They do different things. They have some overlapping activity, but in terms of anti-inflammatory effect, visual support, brain health, heart health, immune health, it is one of the most important. And there are studies showing how even during COVID, there were vitamin A deficiencies.
Yes.
And so, we have to really, come to terms with the fact that this is a critical, essential, important vitamin.
Yes.
Be aware of what the toxicity levels are, which nobody is promoting. But at the same time, we can't be afraid of this vitamin, because it becomes a real critical component in protocols addressing, vision, inflammation, immunity, even in skin health. Preformed vitamin A is incredibly important for the skin. Its differentiation, its growth, its development, and protection as well.
So, a lot of the older generation will tell you they were raised on cod liver oil. Every day they got a spoon of cod liver oil. And of course, vitamin A is natural occurring in cod liver oil, and that's what you guys have derived this from. So this is a 10,000 IU in one. And I encourage people, take one a day, take it with food, and it's great stuff. I think it's I'm happy that we're talking about this today, because as I said, most of the companies quit making straight up vitamin A. But before we go, I just want you to talk about for a moment, the form of retinol. Is that a natural form or not a natural form of vitamin A?
Yeah, well, preformed vitamin A exists, and it's been used, the retinol or retinyl esters. That is the chemical. The most common is retinoic acid, but retinol is obviously one of the most common that you'll see. Some companies use retinol palmitate. It's a little bit more stable. And that's what but they're all pretty much the same. This is the form that vitamin A chemically is. So you want to look for retinol, retinyl, retinoic acid. Those are the forms to look for.
Yeah. Yes. So
Good stuff.
Good. Yeah. Carl, thank you so much.
Yeah, we do. We appreciate it. Great information.
Yeah. And thanks for being in the industry all these years. You do it from your heart. I really appreciate that. For me, it's all about heart. Our industry is filled with very knowledgeable, brilliant, heartfelt people. And you're one of them. And I'm so grateful that you're there and you guys are doing what you do. So, and we love Bluebonnet. In fact, we're expanding the line. It's a great line. You guys have done a great job. So thank you so much for being with us today and for the info.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and continue to do the great work you're doing now. Education is everything. Thank you.
Everything. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
All right. Many blessings, Carl.
Another awesome interview.
That was good. Huh?
I'm telling you what, that was really good. And this is the point of our podcast where I say this is going over here to Denny's pile, and his little friend is going to join him, because this to me,
this is
the alpha-lipoic acid sounds like almost a super supplement of what it does. And I know Carl played it down.
Right.
Like, I don't want to get too, but he indicated that this is it's a really important supplement.
Yes.
And I've known you for, probably 30 years.
Yeah.
What the heck, Claudia? Why didn't you get me on this? You're my expert.
Because there's a lot to talk about.
I know.
There's so many cool things in nature's pharmacy. I keep saying this. It's far superior to man's pharmacy.
Now, would that be something you would take every day for the rest of your life?
I take it every day.
Every day for how many years you've been taking it?
Oh, I don't know. Years.
You take one or two? Because he said one in the morning, one at night.
I usually take two.
See, whenever I start a new supplement, I always start with one.
Well,
just to see.
You want to. You just start
I do
with
one, and I let a good 4 or 5 days go and see if there's any weirdness going on.
Right.
And then once the weirdness, because I don't start, like I'll start that one this week, but I won't start anything else.
Yeah. No. And
now, would you take the vitamin A with it?
Well, you can. Yeah. One a day with food.
Okay.
But again, I'm a fan of, just like you're saying, when you're starting something new, start it by itself.
Right.
Feel what you're feeling. See how your body is. Then add something else in. So,
all right. So I'll do that. I'll just do the alpha-lipoic acid first, and then the vitamin A after like 4 or 5 days, just to, because if something weird starts happening, and I've told you, I've taken some supplements where I'm like, okay, I feel weird, strange, and then I'm like, well, I was taking 2 new ones. I don't know which one.
Exactly.
So there you go. So that's what I'm going to do. But great podcast. But great interview.
So many people are struggling with this blood sugar issue, and it's a shame. And we're seeing it in kids now. And it's really, so anyway, Alpha-Lipoic's a great product.
So would you take that before your biggest carved up meal, or would you just take one? Do it in the morning and do it at night.
Yeah, that's usually what I do. One in the morning, one in the evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. Good podcast. Podcast number 77 was kind of awesome. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully
you like that.
You're going to share it. And we know we are having some kind of mic issues going on there with his computer, but the information was wonderful. So it's worth it. Hopefully you stuck with it, and you're going to share this podcast. So we appreciate you.
Yep. Thank
Claudia,
you.
like always, last word to you.
Well, we're Denny and I are grateful to be doing this, and helping to get the word out about the importance and the beauty and the wonders of natural supplements. They just make you feel better, man. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you for helping us grow this podcast, and keep the faith, everybody, and keep focusing on your own health, because I'll tell you what, when more people in this country are truly healthy, we'll see a tremendous, beautiful, positive shift in this country. So anyway, thank you, everyone. Peace.